Oh, these nights, they still come back to me in dreams. Not the good, quiet ones that smell of diesel and freedom, but that one, the one that smelled of fear and ice. You know, I'm an old man now, almost 50 years behind the wheel. I've seen cities crumble and grass grow right through the middle of the old interstates. I've crossed this country so many times, my tracks are probably deeper than the canyon itself. But the story I'm about to tell you, it's from my first runs, and damn it, it's true. It's called The Convoy That Saved Me. I was barely 20 then, green, ambitious, with a brand new rig I hadn't yet truly felt, and the dumb confidence that I could conquer the road. It was late December, and I was hauling freight from Chicago to Denver. It was either Iowa or Nebraska, that long, endless stretch of highway, endless as life itself, where it seems nothing exists but fields and sky. At first, it was just snow. Then the snow turned into a white wall, as if the Almighty in his anger decided to erase the map of the world and start over. It wasn't just a blizzard, it was thunder. I haven't seen anything like it before or since. The wind bent my Kenworth like a toy car, and the snow hammered the windshield with such fury, like 1,000 stone hands trying to punch through. Visibility, zero. That's not a metaphor. I literally could only see what was 3 feet past my bumper, and everything else was a solid, impenetrable iron white noise. I was sweating, even though the cabin was freezing. My hands were clamped onto the wheel until my knuckles were white, and my heart hammered in my throat, drumming a frantic rhythm of panic. I wanted to pull over, find the shoulder, but in that darkness, I couldn't see the shoulder, or even my own hood. I could hear the Cummins growling beneath me, but I couldn't feel the road. The asphalt had turned to glass. When you're young, you think death is something distant, something fictional, but out there, in the middle of that white desert, it became so real. I imagined my trailer jackknifing, me flying off an overpass, me freezing to death in the snow, and no one finding me until spring. Loneliness. Oh, what a deadly loneliness that was. My citizen, my old CB radio, was hissing, crackling, and silent. Everyone had either hunkered down, or maybe I was the only fool left on that stretch. I was about to turn it off when I heard a sputter, and then suddenly, anyone else got a pulse out here? This is Diesel Dog. Anyone listening on 19? We gotta do something, boys. This is pure Armageddon. I snatched the mic, my hand shaking like a branch in the wind. I'm here. Roadrunner. I'm somewhere in the middle, can't see a damn thing. Help me. I'm scared I'm gonna slide off. And you know how it is on the road when trouble hits? The family gathers. Suddenly, a few more voices appeared. Old, dependable, static-laced. They quickly reached an understanding. They told me to hold steady, that they were coming through slowly, one by one. After what felt like an eternity, I saw them. 2 red, dim, but life-giving dots in the white wall. They were moving at the speed of an old tractor, but they were moving. I barely crawled up to them, hit my foreways, and glued my eyes to the taillights of the trailer ahead. That was my anchor, my only connection to reality. We became a convoy, 5 rigs and me, the youngest, the least experienced, squeezed between giants. All right, Roadrunner, stick close. If the lights vanish, hit your horn. We'll stop. We'll get out of this, son, growled Diesel Dog. But a few minutes later, another voice, new, calm, like a pond before a storm, cut through the airwaves. It was so clear and measured that I involuntarily relaxed my muscles. Diesel Dog, slow it down. Up ahead, about 1.5 miles, there's a little curve where the wind always drifts the snow over. Roadrunner won't see it, Diesel Dog will fly right through it. This is Silver Wolf. Remember the rule. When you can't see, drive with your nose. Feel her, don't look. I froze. Silver Wolf. The name instantly commanded respect. The voice was old, not just worn out, but wise. Like a river that's flowed in the same bed for 1,000 years. I felt my Kenworth swerve slightly to the left. I was bracing for the worst. But at that exact moment, Silver Wolf spoke. Roadrunner, a little to the right. Don't crank it. Just trust the tires. Remember, the road never lies, only our fear does. And I, not even understanding why, obeyed. A barely perceptible movement, and I straightened out, avoiding, as I later realized, a ditch that I simply couldn't see. The next 10 hours were hell and salvation at the same time. We crawled at 10 miles an hour. Every window was frosted over. The windshield was the only clear spot, thanks to the tireless wipers scraping the icy grit. And all that time, like my guardian angel, Silver Wolf was on the frequency. He wasn't driving ahead, not behind. He was just among us. He knew this road like the back of his hand. Small incline here, boys. Give it a little throttle so you don't get stuck. And in 2 minutes, steep decline. Keep your distance or the trailers will start dancing. But he didn't just give directions. He talked. In the middle of the storm, he told stories. About his wife he'd lost years ago. About how he was young and foolish like me and nearly wrecked his rig in California. He talked about the philosophy of the road. Son, the road isn't about where you're going. It's about who you become while you're going. Every mile you cover takes away a little of your foolishness and adds a little wisdom. And when you're stuck in a storm, remember, even the fiercest blizzard has an end. Just wait it out. His voice was so soothing, such a baritone, that I started to feel he wasn't just a driver out here, but a preacher, an elder of this convoy. His words were warmer than the heater in the cab. I soaked them up like a sponge, clinging to them as my only thread in that white abyss. He called me son, and to me, an orphan without a father, it sounded like a prayer. He saved me, at least 3 times, from ending up in a ditch, just by giving the correction right on time, when I had zero frame of reference. I remember when it got the worst. I was so exhausted I started to drift off. The headlights blurred into smeared splotches, and the wind howled like 1,000 ghosts. I didn't know where I was anymore, or if we were moving at all. I snapped my eyes open, saw that I drifted away from the convoy, and the panic returned, but this time it was cold and clammy. I reached for the mic to scream, but Silver Wolf beat me to it. Roadrunner, don't sleep. Don't fall asleep, son. Remember why you're out here. Remember the face you're hauling that truck for, the one you'll go home to. You're at the finish line, but the last yards are the hardest. Sit up straight, breathe, put your hand on the gear shift knob, and just hold on. I'm right here. We're all right here. I did what he said. I put my hand on the cold metal. It was freezing. But Silver Wolf's words made me swallow the panic. I saw, as if right before my eyes, the photograph of my mother I kept in my wallet. And I locked back onto the road. Finally, it happened. Ahead, like a miracle, not a wall appeared, but space. The blizzard began to retreat. First, the snow became sparser, then the wind died down, and a weak but silver first ray of dawn broke through the gray clouds. Light! It felt like being born again. I saw the road, covered in snow, but the road. And ahead, very close, a sign appeared. Sid's Truck Stop, a big old roadside diner that Silver Wolf had mentioned an hour ago. The convoy slowly pulled into the lot. The engines fell silent, and deafening quiet descended, broken only by the ticking of cooling metal. We all climbed out of our rigs like ghosts, coated in ice but alive. Guys hugged, slapped each other on the back, pulled out their thermoses. I, like a madman, started looking around. I had to see him, the one who saved me. I walked up to Diesel Dog. He was old as dirt, with a walrus mustache. Where's Silver Wolf? I gotta thank him. Is he here in this convoy? Which is his rig? Diesel Dog looked at me intently, his gray eyes half closed. He spat into the snow. Then he looked at the other drivers, and they all fell strangely silent. Silver Wolf? Son, did you see a rig out here with a silver wolf head on the grill? He asked quietly. I shook my head. No, but his voice. He was here. He guided us. He told me how to take the turn. He saved me from the ditch. Diesel Dog stepped closer, placing a hand, heavy as a shovel, on my shoulder. Kid, you took the turn. You drove your rig out. Silver Wolf. He wasn't with us today. He wasn't in the convoy. He's a legend, son. That's an old handle. They say he was the best, the wisest. He died in the Great Blizzard of '78, somewhere on this very stretch, trying to help a young driver who was stuck. They found him in the spring, in his cab, frozen, but with the mic in his hand. I felt the snow under my feet turn to cotton. It was like being punched in the gut. But I heard him. I spoke to him. He called me by name. Yes, son, another driver, Old Man River, rasped, shaking his head. We heard his handle on the air then, too. Every time a blizzard turns to hell and someone is lost, Silver Wolf always shows up. He's like the spirit of this road, a legend that never sleeps. He helps those who are stuck, those who are scared. You were alone, kid. Or maybe it was the memory of him, still living on Channel 19. But today, he saved our convoy again. All of us. I stood there, looking out at the snowy horizon where the storm had just subsided, and felt tears freezing on my cheeks. Was it a ghost? Or just a collective hallucination born of fear and the need for a father figure? I still don't know. But I know one thing. That voice, calm, wise, warm, which cut through the icy chaos, saved my life, my body, and my soul. I still hear him sometimes when a long winter run drags on, or when my rig starts to dance a little on the ice. I pick up the mic and just say, "Thanks, Silverwolf, I hear you." And you know what? Sometimes I think he smiles back. I drank that hot bitter coffee, the best damn thing I ever tasted, and that same day, I drove on. But I wasn't the same roadrunner anymore. I became something else, a little older, a little wiser. I became a part of this road, and now, when I hear a young, terrified kid on Channel 19 during a storm, I always answer. I give him advice, and I try to make my voice sound quiet, calm, and wise, just like his, because the convoy that saved me never broke up. It just became endless.